A very warm welcome everyone, I hope you are well. My name is Nick and welcome to the Sunday vlog. Now I've created a little bit of a problem for myself here because normally at this point of the week I pick a subject or a news story that's happened or something that's going on with the channel and I expand upon that, we talk about it for a little while and exchange views and all that sort of stuff. Well, very recently I've started doing the diary cam videos. I don't know if you've seen those, but if you haven't, this week's been a bit strange because we've done one every day from Monday to Friday. Essentially it's me on my morning walk, but this time I've taken a handheld camera with me, so the video quality is never super brilliant and the sound might dip in and out, but it's a lot rawer, it's a lot real rather than a bit studio-ish like this, and I like doing it because we learn a bit about each other. But essentially on those, I have been picking odd subjects that have been going on and talking about them as we go along, so I've probably exhausted all the subjects I could possibly talk about in this Sunday vlog. So what I thought I'd do, rather than talk about something that's not relevant, I thought I'd do a little bit of a summary of them, just in case you have missed them or you want to go back and watch those. There's a Tyrannosaurus Rex in one of them, but I won't tell you which one. It's amazing what you find when you're going out travelling on your walk-in. So on Monday, I briefly discussed, I don't know if you're up with this news story, about Nintendo. Happened quite a few weeks ago now. It's only been a knock-on effect as we sort of like talk and go forward. But Nintendo have always been a bit sensitive about their games. For example, if you put up gaming footage on YouTube and try and monetize it, what very well might happen, even if you don't monetize it, what very well might happen, Nintendo might identify that as one of their games and they put their adverts on it so they make money out of your work. The only way around this, I think, is to become a part of their partnership campaign where they take a big chunk of the money and you take a little bit, but money typically, if you're a small YouTuber on YouTube, is quite small anyway, so you get a fraction of a fraction, which is, you know, in the end you think, right, I'm not going to do Nintendo games. But essentially they moved it up a notch and they approached a site that had put their ROMs on their website. A ROM essentially is a file where you download that from a website. If you upload it into an emulator, then you can play the game, whether that be Nintendo 64 in this case, or Super Nintendo, or whatever. Nintendo threatened to sue two particular sites hosting the ROMs to the tune of 100 million. Those two sites immediately took the Nintendo ROMs down. Some of them have still got existing ROMs for other stuff, other systems there. Emu Paradise got a bit spooked by this and took all their ROMs for every single system down. And I think gradually as time goes by, more and more will follow suit as the owners realise that they're in the risk of getting sued for millions of pounds, which has essentially ruined them. I think we're a long way off from doing that, and I think as well, there's so many of these ROMs have been downloaded anyway by people on various hard drives everywhere. I think it'd be almost impossible to stamp that out. But that's what Nintendo have done. It's because retro gaming didn't used to be commercially viable. It's just people reliving their memories. Now it's got more and more popular. It's on the forefront. Companies now realise they can actually monetize these things again, and you get the retro systems that have come back in, a new retro system like the Commodore 64 Mini, the Vega, and then the Dune Vega Plus, and now the Atari VCS and the miniature NES. People still want this stuff. And so, of course, Nintendo are the first ones to try and take their ROMs down. Whether others will follow suit, more than likely something like that will happen. But, you know, it's just one of those things. I can understand they want to protect their property rights. But, you know, gaming footage, Nintendo, that is wrong. So that's what we spoke about on Monday. On Tuesday, it was like an indoor video. And I showed you, if you're unaware, if you don't run a YouTube channel, YouTube have an algorithm running which is supposed to determine, if you monetize it, what videos can be monetized and which are not suitable to be monetized. So, for example, things like if I was ranting about something, or someone did like hate speech or cult activity or anything illegal, advertisers don't want to put their adverts on that because it associates them with that content. So at the start, I think it was following the Logan Paul story, YouTube developed an algorithm which had a look at the video, right, is this okay for advertising or should it be limited on ads? At the start, it was particularly bad in identifying what's what and tend to be very heavy-handed, especially on gamers. If you put first-person shooter or something, it will isolate the word shooter and think, right, we can't have adverts on this. It's got better over time. and I showed you all the videos I've got so far that got limited ads. They're from a way back. Some of them are right, some I agree with, some of them were wrong. Algorithms are getting better, and overall, percentage-wise, I haven't been hit too badly on that at all. Okay, so Wednesday, a little bit about channel content there, and I was thanking you for your input. I mean, I was saying that I always like having ideas. Sometimes it's an idea I've already tried. Sometimes it's an idea, okay, that probably won't work. Because what happens sometimes is someone might have a good idea what they're trying to help, but what they've done is they've looked at a huge channel that's having big success with that, and thought, right, okay, yeah, if you, because I thought this myself at certain points, think, right, if someone else does that, they'll have that big success as well. That's not quite the case, because it all depends on where YouTube put a channel in the algorithm, what channels they wish to promote. So just copying someone else doesn't always work. Helps a little bit maybe, but I think you've got to go your own way, keep original, because it's the only way to tread new ground and keep your channel vibrant and interesting. That's what I say. So it's all a question of doing, unfortunately, the slow way round and seeing how you get on. On Thursday, I spoke about an article I read which basically said what the future of gaming consoles, essentially. So it said there was only going to be one next generation of consoles, then beyond that the person thought everyone will stream from now on, so via either a specially adapted headset or joystick or just via a normal PC, and they wouldn't develop for individual consoles, which essentially would make everything cross-platform straight away, because there is essentially only one platform. It makes sense to the designers. They don't have to keep manufacturing physical stuff, and I have a bit of a nostalgia for physical things. I like to touch things, hold things, and everything going over to digital, and I was asking what you thought about that. Some people, I think it's an age thing as well, some people really bothered about that, some people didn't seem to care too much if it's digital or not. It's a big space saver. I should be a bit like that really, because I've got lots of space I could use, but it's taken up with Blu-rays, and if I had it all on the cloud, that's fine. The only problem is if something happens to that cloud or there's some damage, you might lose those games forever, so it's like building up the memories. And I ended up on Friday, I spoke about video quality, not just maybe retro gaming, does it make a big difference to you? And I said that I generally put up the games in 720p, that's like the screen definition, and if I'm doing a PlayStation 4 game, I'll try and put it up in 1080p. What I didn't realise is sometimes YouTube might compress the file when I upload it, so there might be some quality lost. People talking about missed frames, I think, on one of the diary cam videos, but there's not too much I can do about that. When I upload, you have to keep your fingers crossed that they do the business, and I just have to keep it as good as I can from my side. Other people, whoever retro gaming, said they upload in 480p and other definitions, and I sort of, like in that video, said, yeah, I agree. If you're doing 8-bit games, 720, what I do it in, is probably overkill. It's probably very reflective even in below 480p, but it's just getting the sound, getting clear, and you know what you're exactly after. So for example, a video like this, I've got two lights shining on me and one from above. If I could afford it, I'd have some more there, a bit more lighting, and it's pretty much, although I'm in a room in my house, it's sort of like trying to get a studio conditions, and the sound is more controlled through a microphone, but that's what you expect from this sort of video. Outside, when I'm holding a camcorder, I haven't got any boom operators. If this ever makes it someday, then I will have boom operators and people chasing me around, and it'd be the same as this. So, you know, it's different. The diary cams are more raw, more real, more in your face, it's more life. This is more, well, a bit edited down and so forth. So I spoke about that as well. So, you know, hope you're having a good week. Occasionally I do an experimental video to see how that would go. One thing I always wanted to do is in terms of like reaction vids to movie trailers and game trailers that have come out. It's just a question of knowing how to do it. Very recently, you may have noticed I put up my first video a bit like that. I was just trying to get how it would work. So you think, right, I want to do a video like that, but I have never done one before. How can I get it to work? Because there's a number of elements that have to come together. So it's a bit like putting together a jigsaw puzzle. The first one is a lot trickier to do. Then you've got a way of doing it each time. So I did my thoughts on an Alien video, the Alien trailer, Ridley Scott from 1979. So check that one out if you haven't already. I'd probably do a few more others of that, of films, classic games I've got in my my collection, and every so often when a new film comes out, because then I'll know how to do it, I'll be able to put up that and get a clearer reaction. Because although I want this to retro, I want it to at least touch the base in the present as well, because the two relate to each other. I don't want to get too detached from the two. It's knowing where one thing fits in the modern world, if you know what I mean. So thank you for watching the videos again. There have been a hell of a lot going up, and it does take time to upload and edit, so thank you people that have kept me going with positive comments, thumbs up, that sort of thing. It's a big help there. But you know, any activity on the channel at all, regardless of what it is, means someone's clicked on the video and helps with the algorithm as well. So thank you, whichever thing you decide to do. Thank you for clicking that. So here's to next week. Video is going to go up Monday as well as usual. Until next time, take great care of yourself. More diary cams to come, I'm sure. And very fun. Goodbye.
Goodbye.